very little, heard only few teachings, yet talk with authority expertly on voidness. Our knowledge of scripture is pitifully lacking, yet glibly we make up and say that we like trample him, dance on the head. On this treacherous concept of selfish concern, tear out the heart of the self-centered butcher who slaughter our child to gain final release. So all the will of sharp weapon is teaching our karma, mainly on karma. So we have many different types of karma, right? So throwing karma, completing karma, habitual karma, returning karma, experience karma, many different types of karma. So point here is, so whatever happening in your life is the result of karma. Maybe past life, maybe beginning of this life, or maybe another life. So karma, So when we're talking about returning karma, So whatever you experience, you are not blaming only external things, but because the external cause and conditions are very temporary, but main cause is, so you create this karma. The main cause, like seed is main cause of the seed is main cause, then cooperative cause, condition, then the seed will happen. Similarly, seed, you planted the seed, but cooperative cause and conditions are external things. So therefore, it's saying that it's talking about karma, So whatever happening in your life, when usually we blame something happened, problem, any sickness or whatever, we always blame external things. So, but this is not the point. So external things are very temporary, but deeply is internal karmic seed planted. So you see very clear, even one family, two different children, but same parent but different mind. So one family, maybe one kid may be very gentle, one kid may be very aggressive. So then you have to ask question, So your parents give your body is given by the parent, but the mind is not given by the parent. The mind is not given by the parent, then where does mind coming from? So you have to ask questions like this. Even one family, right? Of course, their parents want to be good children. So, but everybody is not good, right? Some are good, some are not good. So that means very clear that the children's body is given by the parent, but mind is not given by the parent. It's coming from different directions. Then you have to ask question, where does it coming from? So then you have to ask question, It coming from where? Yesterday or last year or previous life or what? So you have many questions, right? So that means so the will of Shah have been mainly talking about karma, returning karma. So experiential karma, habitual karma. Returning karma means whatever you did, it will return to you, If you are killing somebody in the past, then it will return to you this lifetime. Like returning karma, right? Experiential karma means, so then when this karmic finish, so you experience something. Maybe you will born into some environment. There are so many problems. And habituation means your habit. So your habit to kill or habit to compassion. Some children are compassionate natural, some are negative mind natural. They're habituation. And we have many attendants and people around us, yet no one obeys us, not heeds what we say. We feel we have friends in the position of power. We need help. We are left on our own. Trample him, dance on the head of treacherous concept of selfish concern. Tear out of the heart of this self-centered butcher who slaughter our chance to gain final release. So here, they always talk about selfish concern. So that means self-judging mind. So, one hand there is self-judging mind. On the other hand, there are judging others, compassionate Buddhist mind. So these two, selfish mind and judging other mind, cannot go together, right? They oppose each other. If you are judging more selfish, then less judging other. If you are more developing more judging other, less and less self-centered attitude. So these two oppose each other, right? But very difficult to change, right? So very difficult to change the mind. So therefore, what we should do? We should first, many great masters say, first we should recognize ourselves and then change the mind. First we should recognize ourselves and then you change the mind. So recognize ourselves means, so we always talk about I, me, I want happiness. What kind of I appears to your mind? What kind of self appears to your mind, right? Recognizing your self means you make sure whatever you speak, whatever you think, whatever you do, analyze your motivation. Change your aspiration, remain normal. That's many great masters saying, change your aspiration, but remain normal. You're not acting, but before you start thinking or talking, or you just check your motivation. Check your motivation. So that means, am I speaking right or wrong? Am I thinking right or wrong? You know what I mean? Yeah. And then when you change your aspiration, then you will recognize yourself. Because if you are not analyzing yourself, then you don't know what, you have no wisdom. Right? So therefore, so that means recognize yourself and then try to change tame the mind, discipline the mind. So now this is very difficult to do, right? So what we have to do is we have to use the logic. We have to use the valid logic, valid proof. So that means, as I mentioned before, one hand self-centered attitude mind, other hand judging for others. These two, self-centered mind and judging mind, both are nature. nature impermanence. They cannot stay permanently like this. It will change, right? You have to use the logic. These are like analytical meditation, So self-centered mind and judging other mind, Buddha, nature, impermanence. If it is nature impermanence, cannot stay permanently, always changing. So then, is it possible you can change self-centered attitude to the changing of others? Of course possible. It depends on your effort. It depends on your motivation. It depends on your knowledge. It depends on what kind of instrument you are using to change your mental attitude. So this is a kind of like analytical meditation. So you use the logic, okay. So these two minds cannot go together, but both are nature of impermanence. So if it is nature of impermanence, not remain permanent all the time. So therefore it is possible I can change this self-centered attitude to the judging of others. Now the question is, how long it will take to change this mind? Then you have to ask question, how long? The best practitioner or some have who knowledge will change maybe 24 hours like this, right? And then the medium, maybe at least 1 month I can change something. But then worst one, or at least 1 year I can change something. So you have to make it like this. And these are like analytical meditation, go one by one, So how can I change? How long it will take to change this mind? So then, if possible, 24 hours. If not, at least 1 month, at least 1 year. Then you ask question, So when you're analyzing this like this, I want to change my mind 24 hours, maybe difficult. 1 month, very difficult. At least 1 year I can change something, Then you're doing like this, and then you analyze, change your motivation, and then ask the question, my mind remain same, better, or worse. There's 3 things. My mind remain same, my mind remain better. So that means so my practice is working, So I change my mind better than previous mind. Right? If my mind is remain same, so that means what you need to do, you have to put more effort. Right? You can't remain same. One month you have to change the mind. Right? So if you have 1 month, if you remain same, then something missing. So what kind of instrument I'm missing? Maybe I'm missing something because I start 1 month and it's still the same, right? And then if it's getting worse, so then that means you are not concentrating, maybe not enough knowledge, maybe not enough instrument. So therefore, these are the technique, method given by the Kadamba master, because it is so difficult change this mind, because this like a self-judging mind is like chronic disease. But when you have chronic disease, you have to take medicine long time, right? And continuously, every day, then finally you will cure the chronic disease, right? Similarly, self-judging mind is like chronic disease. So we have to constantly use meditation, analytical meditation, single-pointed meditation, or use the logic, use valid proof like this. So then it possible we will change the mind. And next is we have gained lofty status and rank of prestige, yet our knowledge is poor than that of gurus. We are considered great gurus, yet even the demons do not harbor such hatred or clinging desire, or as closed mind and outlook as we seem to have. Trample him, dance on the head of the treacherous concept of selfish concern, tear out the heart of self-centered butcher who slaughter our chance to gain final. So we have we study many Dharma, right? Yeah, we are studying. We have not knowledge about Dharma. We study about bodhicitta, study about emptiness, we study about all the impermanence, many, small scope, medium scope, great scope. But we are still remaining same, we have to ask question why I'm like this, you know what I mean? Many teachings, right? It's still very difficult to change. So you ask question, what am I lacking? What am I missing something? So here point is, main point, Greek Kadamba Master said, we are missing understanding about impermanence, understanding about the renunciation, understanding about the bodhicitta mind. These three tools: impermanence, renunciation, and bodhicitta mind. So, without understanding impermanence, no renunciation. Without renunciation, no bodhicitta mind. Without understanding bodhicitta, there is no understanding of wisdom realizing emptiness. This is like step by one. So do we have understanding about impermanence? We talk about impermanence, but what is really impermanence means? Well, whenever we talk about impermanence, we are always talking about grosser level of impermanence. Something we see remain and disappear. We see, impermanence, because I see remain little while, disappear. So this kind of impermanence understanding is very gross level of understanding impermanence. So this will not understand deeper level. Deeper level in understanding impermanence is not something like remain, coming, remain, and disappear. It's not like that. As soon as it comes, its nature is disintegrating, instantly moving, It never stops anywhere. Never stop 1 second. As soon as it arises, its nature is disintegrating. So if you are understanding something like this, then that is subtle level of understanding impermanence. As soon as it arises, nature disintegrating. Right? Then that will help you to build a foundation to understand the renunciation. When we say renunciation, we are talking about how we renounce from samsara, right? Samsara. We all know about samsara. Samsara. Then ask question: what do you really know about samsara? Then if you really know about samsara, then how can you not try to liberate from samsara? You're still enjoying the samsara, right? If you really know the samsara, then that means when we talk about first fundamental truth of suffering, Buddha taught about truth of suffering, right? So then he taught about suffering of change, suffering of, well, first he taught about suffering of change, suffering of conditioning. So suffering is conventional level, everybody know, everybody recognize suffering, right? And then suffering of change, then that is also worldly pleasure. We see, hear, smell, taste, finally turn into the pain. Then we ask question about suffering of conditioning. Then that's the question. Suffering of conditioning means then you have to analyze what the nature of that suffering of conditioning. Suffering of conditioning means now you really understand samsara. Means as long as I am dominated by this suffering of conditioning, so that means fundamental ignorance confuse your life, and karma support fundamental ignorance. So that's suffering of conditioning means. So if you really understand the suffering of conditioning, then you will understand the renunciation. You know what I mean? Suffering of conditioning means, so what the nature of that suffering is rooted by fundamental ignorance, which confuse our life and supported by karma. As long as we are dominated by these two, then there is no space of permanent happiness. So if you really understand this point, this will understand renunciation. Understand what I'm saying? Renounce. So you ask question, we say samsara means controlled by the suffering of conditioning. Suffering of conditioning is really because the fundamental ignorance confuse our life. It's very clear, because if fundamentally not confuse our life, why we are experiencing more and more suffering. We are experiencing more and more suffering. But we are suffering more than happiness. So that fundamental ignorance confuse our life. So if you understand that kind of suffering conditioning, then you will understand the renunciation. So then you understand renunciation, then you experience this feeling, and then you change this to other. It turns into the bodhicitta mind. Same like me. Nobody wants pain and suffering. I experience this, now I can see, and then that switch up to other, it turns into the bodhicitta mind. So that's the three main tools to change our self-centered attitude. And we talk about theories and most of advanced teaching, yet our everyday contact is worse than a dog's. We are learned, intelligent, versed in great knowledge, yet cast to the wind wisdom, ethical base, trample him, dance on the hate, on this treacherous concept of selfish concern, tear out the heart of self-centered butcher. We slaughter our child to gain final release. So that means here we study many things, right? Mainly why we ask question why we are studying, right? Because we want to change our mind. So study is like knowledge, right? And then you study, right? Then you have all the instruction. And what you should do is thinking, analyzing, analyze. What is analyzing, right? So when you think, finally you make conclusion, now I can meditate. You know what I mean? Hearing, thinking and meditation. These three should go together all the time. So when we talk about meditation, then only 2 types of meditation, right? analytical meditation and single-pointed meditation. So analytical meditation, so you use the introspection and mindfulness. So you, whatever you want to meditate, any topic about, for example, like impermanence. So first you learn instruction, then you are thinking about impermanence, and finally you meditate on the impermanence. So use the introspection, use the mindfulness, and then after finish analytical meditation, then you just make single point concentration, no analyzing, just focus. Impermanence of the impermanence of the cup or whatever, just no analyzing, just single point meditation means your mind remain without distraction, mental dullness, just hold the focus on the object. So we have to use meditation, and every time we talk about meditation, we have to use two: analytical meditation and single point meditation. Now I have to read the commentary here. Although we have listened to but limited teaching, we speak as with authority and spout nonsense, not answering the needs of the disciples. On the other hand, if we had listened properly to the impeccable teaching, we will never be at the loss of teaching others. We have listened so little and so narrowly that we proclaim all sorts of undesirable interpretation while knowing nothing. As an example or effect of limited knowledge, man was once requested to be bless a monk's robe according to Mahayana, but not wanting to admit as ignorance, he asked for a vase to be brought, sprinkle the robes with water. We too have proclaimed distorted realization and so forth, all because of our self-judging attitude trample him. 65. We have great entourage of attendant and disabled, and may give them equal care materially and spiritually, yet they became outrageous, paying no attention to advice. Even when we have been kind, we receive rough treatment in return. Likewise, though we have cultivated friendship in our time of need, we are without help, as Rading Rinpoche said. Rading Rinpoche is the manifestation of Atisha. He is the Serege. He is region of Tibet. Never place any expectation to human beings. Trust the three jewels alone. Self-judging is the cause of this misfortune. Trample upon him and wrap out the heart of Buddha. Although we have high qualification, our knowledge is actually less than Dharmarakshira's second Rading Rinpoche. Region and tutor to the 12th Dalai Lama said, had I remained satisfied with my credentials, I could have been nowhere. But having studied and practiced, you regard me as Dojichang, and I teach without stumbling. The third Rading Rinpoche was tutor of the Kyabji Tijang Dojichang, while the fourth was Lama took responsibility for finding his holiness, 14th Dalai Lama. So this is the reincarnation of the Rading Rinpoche. Having credentials but no knowledge is worth nothing. Clinging to the high Lama, one's craving, desire and hatred are worse than those of God or Devaputta Mara. Conglomerations of all delusions who puts in this situation, self-charging attitude, I can trample him. How many? 67. 67. While we are very proud of our specialist, our actual behavior is worse than though our type of person is abundant. We claim very high views that there is no inherent existence and so on, and boast of having entered the highly ascetics, Vajrayana, but our behavior thoroughly belittles the law of cause and effect and morality. We seek loose women and intoxicant and end up vomiting in the street. Such people cast all thoughts of morality to the wind and whipped in their hopes of gaining prosperity in their future life. All arises from self-judging, trampling. We should be very careful before entering the Vajrayana as Ngawang the fifth Dalai Lama, 17th century said, to indulge the tantric path without first training in the common path is like putting a child on a wild elephant. A motorcycle goes very fast, and it man with no skill where to ride it, he would soon find himself in the ditch. If we enter the tantric path, we should especially careful of the Padimokkha, Bodhisattva as well as of the tantric vows. Buddha Vajradhara never advised careless toward Padimokkha, Bodhisattva vows, not to any of the tantric texts to underestimate or transgress the word of the Buddha is the tantric root downfall. Here it is stressed that in the time of 5D generation, great spiritual friends are ignored, wives, drunken, charlatans are exalted. We must be careful, for according to the tantric, it is only after achieving certain realization that one can take movement and intoxicant and consciousness control Dharma practice. Without this realization, practice such as various male, female, union yoga only goes for lower rebirth. Even if one has the pre-Christian realization of cultivating a consort, a woman with whom you will be practiced should train in the common path, receive the initiation, preserve the tantric pledge, work careful than her eyes. The man should have realized emptiness and woman should have the same level of realization. Milarepa said, to train the energy channels property, one should act with these three, but to follow its practice without qualification, to climb the hill of sword in hand. If possible, our practice should accord to the advice of root text, Vem Samaja Tantra. We should be externally and incapably practice Shana of the manner of Sarvaka, while internally we should have the realization of bliss and emptiness. Okay, so then tantric is not easy. Talking about tantric practice, we should have basic, like understanding of the emptiness and wisdom of non-joy bliss. So without understanding emptiness, wisdom of non-joy, you're not allowed to drink, you're not allowed women. It's just like we are very dangerous. We were talking about developing developing stage and completing stage. So when channel drop and practicing, and then open the channel, and then that will give you bliss, and the bliss can realize emptiness, then you are allowed to have console. The console also same who have received initiations and keep the pledges, chanting vows, and the same practice, then no problem. Otherwise, very, very dangerous. People talking about chanting is like union of male and female. It's not like ordinary, understanding, developing stage, completing stage, non-joy, bliss, emptiness, and then possible, what I mean. Okay, everybody.
So is it true that Tsongkhapa didn't work with the consort because he believed that it was too dangerous for people?
Tsongkhapa, he's not in the intermediate state, not in this. When he passed away in the Pardo, then all this practice. No, not there. Okay, everyone.